Hello and welcome to my tech farm. My name is Igor and it's time for another filament review, but this time a little bit different. A few months ago, Eryone asked me if I want to do a review of their scented filaments. First, my thought was that I'm a good person for this because I usually do mechanical test experiments with these materials. But then I thought, well, actually, why not? Because I have wife and 3 daughters, and maybe I will ask some female neighbors because probably this can be useful if you want to print some gifts. This is Eryone's Kickstarter project, and they have 2 types of the range. One is the fruit scents, and they have here the green apple, orange, strawberry, and mango. And what I have here are the flower scents, and the aromas are rose, tulip, lavender, and jasmine. And what will you see in this video? Well, probably I will check first the printability, I think with the temperature tower, and then I will print some objects, and I will ask my female members of the family or neighbors what is their opinion. To do some more scientific approach, I will create some scale and they have to fill it, and I will publish the result at the end. Let's take a closer look of these spools. As you can see, rose is in red color, lavender is in this purple color, the jasmine is in white, and tulip is in yellow color. And it is a nice vacuum packaging. There is a silica gel inside. And what can I see on the spool? Yes, the printing temperature between 190 and 220 degrees Celsius. And this is how I recommend it to store it after the printing, if you didn't use the whole spool, to buy some bags where you can, with a small hand pump, you can suck out the air and there'll be vacuum inside. I will show you that later in this video. This is the tulip. Then, well, I don't feel the smell too hard on the spool yet, but let's open the other. Jasmine. Not so strong. Well, I'm not sure if I feel correctly the smells, but the lavender and the rose. I think this one has the strongest aroma, but I will check after the printing. Here are the closer looks of the spools. Rose, lavender, jasmine, and tulip. And now let's see the printability. I will start with lavender. And unfortunately, end of the filament is below the stickers. So as you can see, there are holes for end of the filament, but they are covered with this sticker. I saw this so many times. I start thinking that the manufacturers don't really realize how important are those holes to lock the end of the filament to prevent any filament jam later in the printing. Quick check for the layer adhesion. Okay, just typical PLA, no problems with that. It looks great, but I will print the rest of the 3 temperature towers and then I will analyze it together. And here they are side by side. They are printed without any problems because it's just a regular PLA. Maybe just a little bit more stringing I noticed with the rose filament on 220 degrees Celsius, but not so significant. And all other are printed without even that problem. As you can see, the overhang also came out perfectly the bridging, I hope it's visible on camera too. And same with the other two filaments. During the printing, the aroma was much stronger, so if I have to place them somehow in order, the strongest was the rose, the weakest was the lavender, and these two were maybe equal, but it was very strong smell. When I came into my working room during printing, I can definitely feel that pleasant aroma in the air. Just quick check the layer adhesion, not too scientific, but somebody wrote me that I have to break these small parts. For the filling, just a typical PLA strength layer adhesion. I will store them in the bags before the next testing. Well, the most important experiment for these filaments is the smell test. So I printed these some kind of flowers. They are just circle with the wall thickness of 2 layers. With this I have quite big area, so the smell should be noticeable. I want to rate it somehow, but if I rate it, that's definitely not significant. So I prepared this table, and the first line I will fill, and I want to ask several people. Well, first, the second will be my wife, and then my daughters, and then I will ask my neighbors or my colleagues in my workplace. And the question is that for each filament I will ask, is it recognizable, the type of the scent, the intensity, and do they like it? And well, the initials are GDPR laws, so I cannot use their names if I don't have written permission, and the gender will be in this table, and summary the results. Don't worry, I record only mine. Lavender. The intensity from 1 to 5 scale is maybe 2. Well, I don't really know what is the lavender, so I don't really recognize it completely. And do I like it? Well, yes. Tulip. Oh, this is stronger a little bit. Let's say 3. I don't really know, maybe 2. And I like it, of course. Jasmine. Less intensive than tulip. I don't recognize it, and well, I like it. And the rose. Oh yes, this is the strongest. Let's say it's intensity 3 or 4. I like it, and this one I can recognize. And I'll try to repeat this test with at least 20 persons, and I'll publish you the results in a few seconds. The second tester was my wife, and she has very good feeling for the smell. And then my 2 teenage daughters. But my third daughter was disqualified from this test, and here is the reason. Here, what is the intensity?
Это 3.
Rate this aroma.
Это 3.
Give me the number! Here on my workplace we also have a sensory department, so I will ask my colleagues to fill this form for me with these test specimens. I only have a verbal permission to record inside and not in writing, so I will not record any footage inside this department. Unfortunately, only one person was there on the sensory department. Maybe one more will arrive later. Now I will start on my department, and I will ask as many colleagues as I can, and then I will ask from the other department until I don't fill this table. This is my final list with the results. I could find only 16 people, but I will now enter these numbers to Excel to process the results. And also I would like to mention that if anybody want to repeat this kind of test, that in my case I give the samples to tester in this bag. So everybody took out the sample from the bag and then he smelled it. And after this, it was placed back. So with this, it keeps the smell for a little bit longer time. So this is what I recommend if you print some gift. Place it in some kind of gift bag or box. It will keep the smell for a longer period. And these are the numbers in Excel table. And here on the bottom, you can see the average numbers. But if I watch the graph, let's analyze recognizable. So you can see the rose was the best recognizable, and the tulip was the less recognizable. Most of them told me that they feel it's some kind of flower, but they don't know that it's tulip. Intensity, well, lavender, tulip, jasmine, they are quite equal, not too intensive smell, aroma, but the rose was the best. You can see from 5 it get 4.5 score. And well, actually there is no significant difference. Basically, if they feel the smell, they were satisfied. So every tester, like almost every filament, of course, here the rose win a little bit more, but there is no significant difference in between these. And except me, all testers were females. Now I noticed that the smell is stronger if the object is on some hot place. But before you print something for the car interior as a gift, don't forget that this is PLA, and take a look of this temperature test. These are my test specimens which I use for temperature tests, and they have all M10 nut as a small load, and I will measure the temperature with this thermometer. And I want to record the temperature when the first movement will be made. Well, that was a time lapse, and as I expected, this thermometer has a very small delay, so approximately after 50 degrees Celsius they start with the deformation, so they're just a regular PLA. So keep in mind before you print something as a gift for inside the car. Oh, but they smell very strongly now. Well, if you are curious what material will survive a hot summer day inside the car, then check this video. I tested it separately about Eryone scented filaments. Well, it's very nice to have these aromatic materials to print some kind of gifts for our ladies. And I'm not sure if they can both be separately, but from these four, definitely the rose is the winner. Now, big question is how long they keep the smell. Well, it depends on the surface area. This is quite small object, and I notice if I take it out from the bag, then it is very hard. After a few hours, it is very hard to feel the smell. If I put it back into bag, only 1 or 2 minutes, and take it out, and again I can feel the smell. This means those smell molecules are released continuously. Only depend of the surface area, how big is it, if we will feel the smell if we take the air with our nose. This means a bigger object, like with bigger surface area, for example, some kind of printed rose, there we have quite big area, probably you can feel that smell much stronger compared to these small objects. I'm not sure, as I mentioned, for these small objects, after few hours, if they are on air, it's very hard to feel the smell. So that's why I recommend to put the gift in some kind of closed bag or box and then give it, if it will be a gift, of course. And for filament storage, if you don't use it properly, you will not use the whole spool. Keep them in some kind of bag. I already mentioned it is a vacuum bag. You can put it inside and suck the air with this small pump. Well, that was a little bit different type of the review for me. I hope you enjoyed it at least a little bit. Thank you for watching and happy printing!